feeling the excitement. I hope you guys are too. Welcome to the WECG Group D here at the Korea Nationals. Our final group of the round of 16. One of our most race-diverse groups that we've got in this tournament for the round of 16. We had a very Protoss-heavy group, if you want to...
I guess you can call it that. It was pretty heavy, considering there were 4 out of 4 Protoss players possible.
I just try to keep it PG.
Yeah. Well, we're keeping it, you know, well balanced today. Like you did mention, we're going to have a bunch of big names here. We got Soulkey, herO, TY, and Myungshik, who just recently joined a new team, Soulkey, even SK as well. A lot of people moving around, a lot of big things happening here in Korea, and we're going to get to see some of them play today.
Yeah, that we will. And I feel like the clear favorites are, well, actually, before I say this, because, I mean, to me, I have clear favorites, but I think most people might have different opinions on this. What do you think is going to get out of the group? I want you to answer or say this before I give my predictions.
Right off the top of my head, I would have to go with TY and herO. Top 2.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Okay.
I feel like Soulkey's in a bit of a slump. There are a lot of rumors about him online about he was switching back to StarCraft 1. Obviously not true, at least. He's here in the studio and he qualified for this tournament, so I'm pretty sure he's still practicing StarCraft 2 at the highest level on the most well-funded team, the runner-up for Pro League last season. He's obviously one of the best Zergs in the world, no doubt about it. I think a lot of people thought he was the best Zerg in the world, but Sue has proven that he actually, in fact, is. Now, let's take a look at our results for the group so far. We had Dark and Byung advance from Group A. Sora and Stats pulling off a bit of an upset there in Group B. Cure falling down to 4th. And then yesterday, we had Super get first place, which was crazy. Even though I would argue that he had the worst late-game PvP, he made the group go his way.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot yesterday. He just makes the games go his way. He plays the type of game, and he forces his opponent to play his game, and he just wins games like that. So whatever works for him works, and he gets first place in the group ahead of Zesk, Trap, and Classic. That was amazing for him. And, of course, we had the Group D there. We already mentioned the players.
Yep. So, of course, the first place player will play against Byung. Any matchup possible there, as well as the match against Dark. We don't know who's going to get second place. Well, that's how going to be finishing up our bracket for the round of 8. And then, of course, that will take place next week on the 13th and the 14th. And then after that, we have on the 20th the round of 4. And you can see the rest of the tournament will be decided on the 21st finals and third place match.
Yep, pretty cool bracket coming along here. We already got 2 PvPs set up, Super and Stats and Sora and Zest. Really looking forward to Sora and Zest personally. You know, Zest known, very, very good player, just one of the top players, if not top 5 here in Korea or the world. And he's going up against Sora, a guy who got first place in his group. You had faith in him. I didn't really have the faith, but he proved me wrong. This is his tournament. You know, this WECG, this is WCG type style tournament, and he's coming in swinging. Yeah,
I'm really sad, actually, that we have that matchup like that. I want to see the game for sure, like you're saying. You know, I'm excited to see the game, but I wish that they could meet each other later on in the bracket, or potentially could have both of them in the tournament. Obviously, you know, you're going to feel that way about pretty much any bracket in the round of 8, but that matchup is especially. I would love to have both of those guys in China. Well, here's a look at Group D. We already talked about the players, but let's take a closer, in-depth look. It's on the screen now. How this is going to play out. We're going to have Soulkey versus herO and a ZVP before we go into our TVP, TY versus Myungshik. Myungshik recently joining Prime. A great pickup for them. A pretty nice one. Really bolstering their lineup. Creator doesn't have to carry the team as their Protoss representative anymore necessarily going into next season.
Yeah, they kind of got a 1-2 punch of Protosses, I guess you could call it, going into next season. Will be very interesting to see how that goes. TY, a guy who's pretty known for being good against Protoss. He's going up against Protoss first. Could go up against Protoss in his next match as well. Yeah,
this is true. Soulkey, of course, as you can see, is seeded from winning WCG last year. Now, if you guys are not familiar, WECG is basically a new reorganized version of WCG. That's why we talk about WCG history a lot in this tournament, and the success of players in past seasons and past qualifiers for WCG. Yes, it's a new tournament, and the name is new, but obviously there's seedings and things like that because it's a very, it's a global tournament with qualifiers just like WCG was, so it's very similar in structure, very similar feeling for the players, so just keep all that in mind.
Yep, that was a quick look at Soulkey over there, and here's herO. To get here, he had to go through the qualifiers before the Korean national qualifiers. He beat Natural, Pet, and Salvation.
Yeah. You know, considering it's herO, it's not the best, wins that he had. He could have beaten better players, but, Pet and Salvation are two pretty decent players. They play in a lot of qualifiers. They play in almost every Code A qualifier. Not bad players. Both former top-tier team pro gamers. I'm not sure if Pet is still on StarTale or not, to be honest. But both of those players actually at a time were definitely Code A level consistently. So it's not a bad run through there. So here are picks and bans going for our ZVP.
Yep, Soulkey banned Deadwing and Nimbus, two pretty big maps there, and herO banning out Merry-Go-Round and Foxtrot Labs. We're going to have Overgrowth here for set 1 and King Salem Station for set 2, and then Catalina, a map that I'm not sure if it's even been played once so far in the qualifiers. Maybe just once or twice, because I really do not recall any games on this map, actually.
I think it might have had a TVT on it.
Maybe.
I'm not sure, though.
That would make sense. Terrans do love to play on that map.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it's interesting to me that Soulkey chooses Overgrowth first, and then it's herO that picks the King Sejong Station. I think the reason why is because Soulkey knows that herO's not the type of player to do all-ins. He doesn't really have to fear herO on a two-player map because stylistically, he's not the type of player to be aggressive early on. He's not the type of player to do an all-in push, an Immortal push, a 6 gateway with Oracle timing build, something like that would be really strong on a two-player map. So if I'm Soulkey going into game number 1, if he does something like that to me, it's okay because I got 2 games left to worry about it after that, and he's probably not going to do it anyways.
Yeah, and there's 2 extra games left that he's got. Not bad maps for Zerg. Big one in Catalina, and then you got King Sejong Station for map number 2 as well. Going into this one, I'm really looking forward to see how Soulkey will go up against herO. I honestly feel like herO is looking a little bit better going into this matchup, but we're going to have to see.
That we will, Valdy. Let's do it. Game number 1 here on Overgrowth.
Up here in the top right, in the red, the Zerg player, it is Soulkey.
And, of course, down to the bottom left in blue, it's his opponent, excuse me, it's herO. And he's going to go ahead and make that wall on top of the ramp. Looks like that means we're going to be seeing a wall up there with possibly a gateway and a forge.
Yeah. Something we see sometimes on this map, Protoss like to do, SOS pretty famous for it, is just throw down that forge down there on the bottom of the ramp and go for either a fake cannon rush or actually going for the cannon rush if the Zerg opponent loves, if he wants to put down that hatchery. But since that used to happen all the time, SOS really bringing that around. A lot of the Zerg players on this map, they just always have to send out that 9 scout here on this kind of 2-player map especially. They do it on King Sejong Station as well. Just to make sure they're not being cannon rushed.
Exactly. It's a really important thing to check and to be aware of. And as he sees the drone, he knows that his cannoning won't work. He sends a probe back immediately because he knows that he's going to want to start putting some damage on that drone and send that second probe down so he can get the Nexus up.
Oh.
And also prevent a hatch block if he can. Oh, nicely done. He's not going to get that hatch block. I don't think. It's already down to 18 hit points.
Taking way too much health.
He needs to run, actually. He might lose it. All right.
Very nicely done there by herO. Just bringing the 2 probes down, he's able to stop that hatch block, which is just so annoying. You never want that to happen to you, so well done.
Just very carefully done. And now he's got a Nexus and a gateway up. He knows that almost 100% with the drone scout this early, Soulkey has gone for a hatch first at home, and that he was considering doing a hatch block, so a pretty comfortable place to be. Although the best response is for Soulkey to go ahead and drop this 3rd hatchery down because he's seen that there's a gateway and a Nexus coming up here, so he's not going to be cannon rushed. The 3rd base is totally safe. He doesn't need Zerglings out now. He just needs to get his economy up to make up for how much herO has gotten his econ up, as well as to be able to get his tech forward in that early gateway.
Yeah. herO here. There are many different ways that Protoss can get into this mid game. Sometimes they can put down 4 gates, go for some aggression, because on a map like this, when you go Nexus first, they kind of know that the Zerg is going to go for 3 bases pretty early. So could definitely put on the aggression, kind of try to punish them for that 3rd base that comes really early. Or, another thing they like to do is put down that Stargate and try to put on the harass that way with Phoenixes and or Oracles.
Yeah. There's definitely a few different ways that you can follow this up. I think we're going to see Phoenix, but with this fast Cybernetics core, the sky's the limit. You could even see really fast gateway follow-ups to this, starting with 4, and then up to really 6 gates.
The 6, and then the Twilight Council, and then the Blink, and then the
right,
and the +2, and
that's definitely another follow-up, but that one's more common, I guess, after a Forge opening. But we could see that something like that nonetheless. Let's wait and see what he wants to make here. He's going to want to try to get that Overlord out of there as fast as possible in order to hide his tech, and that's where that Stalker is on the way right now. Third base just now getting saturated here, and there is a Stargate planted. The Overlord has evacuated, so he's not going to be able to see this. He's got no scout nearby.
I like the idea here by herO. He's just sending out that first Zealot that he did commit to just take control of that far watchtower. Wants to just get that vision of the map, maybe force a couple more Zerglings. You see 4 more coming out here. You're not going to force a lot with just 1 Zealot, but just the little things here.
Yeah, anything you can force, any non-drone units you can make, the Zerg make is going to be good for you. Should be able to deny the scout with a Stalker control here. Just going to kite. Well, okay. Yep. I'd rather not kite, but a stutter step. 6 more drones on the way. Going to catch him up in worker count, but a very healthy probe count right now for herO, excuse me. And those Phoenixes are starting to come out here. Completely undetected. He's going to sack these Overlords. One's going to the natural, one's going into the main base.
Yeah, and since that first Stalker kind of over here, trying to get rid of that 1 Overlord, this one in the main base should be able to get that vision. He sees the Phoenix come out anyway, so he knows exactly what herO's going for here.
Yep. Oh, that Overlord barely escapes. 1 shot would have done it. It's still going to go down, but this means he's going to be supply blocked for less time. Oh, wow, he actually sneaks 4 Zerglings in here. Not sure how that happened, but I guess it's because that Stalker was a little bit out of position to kill the Overlord. Now he sees that more Phoenixes are being made. It's kind of annoying, and he's got to keep his units at home. And in fact, actually, it's an Oracle, not a Phoenix, so
yeah,
he changed it into a Void Ray after that. It's all over the place.
He's making 1 of each unit, When you first try out the game, you just want to see what every unit does. I think that's what he's going for here. But
he's going to make a Fleet Beacon next so he can get the Carrier.
Yeah. Then the Tempest.
No, never the Tempest, just for carriers.
That 1 Zealot actually driving to the Queens over there to the 3rd base. Is coming in here to the 2nd base.
Yeah,
lifting up that Queen.
Nice. This is quite well executed here. And because the Queen is lifted, the drones have to evacuate. And even with only 1 Queen here, you can still ignore it until the 2nd one arrives and get a few more kills here. 7 kills, 8 kills, 9. That's way more than you would normally expect from just 1 Oracle. And the Phoenix is just lurking around. He has to keep his Overlords protected. Does start 2 Spore Crawlers, which is basically paying money to lose drones. You know, you were saying earlier you make 4 Zerlians, that's like 2 drones. If you make 2 Spore Crawlers, you pay money and lose 2 drones. It's something you would like to avoid if you can.
Yeah. We saw Soulkey. He was trying to keep away from the Spore Crawler idea. He was making a lot of Queens, went up to 4, but just when that extra Phoenix comes in, lifts it up, it's going to do a lot of damage regardless there. It was very nicely done as well by herO, putting the Zealot towards that 3rd base to draw the Queens over, and then going for the natural there. It really led to getting a lot more kills there.
Yeah. Well, we have a really fast bay, 5 gates, +1 obviously on the way. Ooh, nice Zealot block here. Good read, knowing the base would be coming up pretty soon. Even immediately, having that Hawkeye vision on the minimap, he's actually going to be able to possibly kill this base.
I wonder...
or rather, kill the drone.
The 3rd base comes up, but herO stopped at 47 drones, or rather probes here, for a long time. He's making 6 gates, Colossi.
He's just going to do a timing attack, it looks like.
Yeah, he's not trying to saturate that 3rd base right now. We see... It looks like maybe 1 probe over there.
I don't think he can kill this base now that the Queens are there, though. Not a bad idea, but he's distracting these units, and the Immortal push is moving across the map. We will have 1 Colossus in just a second. Range is not far away either.
Wants to deny that Scalp, but pulling the units over there to the left. The Zerglings are going to try to run in here. Very nice block, but is there a hole? No. Very nicely done. No Scout here for Soulkey.
Well, he sees the Colossus laser if he's paying attention. You know, he's seen that Thermal Lance, you know, that animation. So if he was paying attention, he knows what's coming now, and he needs to get ready. Spine Crawlers are on the way. He's got a ton of money. He may just try to go straight Mutas here. because with all this money, he might be able to overwhelm. There's not that many Stalkers, and yeah, 12 meterless, 4 Spore Crawlers, or rather Spine Crawlers are already on the way, so that's going to help buy him some time as well. And if he can eliminate all the anti-air units, which is basically a pile of sentries, then he's going to have no problem defending this. The Spines will buy a little bit of time, the Mutas will kill the Colossi, and I'm liking Soulkey's position here. Let's find out if he can actually make this work. The Warp Prism is way far away, so reinforcing this push is going to be a big challenge. He may just want to kill this and recall, to be perfectly frank. I think that may be the best plan here.
Yeah, I mean, given the fact once he sees these Mutas, he's got to recall immediately. He does. Okay, very nicely done.
Not a single casualty.
Yeah. And you know what? I mean, he was able to stop that 4th base from going down, but still, he has no saturation at his 3rd base. He has 46 probes. Soulkey has total control of the map. A ton of Mutas out. He's taken 2 bases at the same time, including the gold. As long as he can stop this push and just go for the the backdoor attack here with the Mutas and the Lings, I think he should be just fine.
Well, this base will go down should herO decide to continue to push. He does decide to come back home.
May still even go down.
It may actually, but at a huge cost. If he commits to that, he's going to lose all of his Mutalists, something I do not think would be worth it for him right now. Yeah,
very true. And you know what? He's getting pushed into the corner here. Phoenix even just 1 shot at a time doing decent damage here.
That Phoenix control was really nice. This little skit across the side there. Now a big Zealot warping over here. They don't have charge, but they're going to eventually work their way through here, forcing units to go home. Now if he pulls all the way back to where the Zealots are, perhaps that new 4th base at the gold, that one that's exposed might actually get targeted down here. I don't think he can actually defend that. He just doesn't have enough units. He's got 31 Lings and 11 Mutas. There's 2 Colossi, 2 Immortals, and a few Corruptors now popping out. That's going to be pretty helpful here. This is a very scary position for Soulkey because this army is really strong right now, but maybe he can catch the Colossi.
Colossi way out of position here. Maybe get some damage on one. No, he doesn't quite.
That was very scary, but he still wants to maybe grab it. Targeting it down with his air units here. Is not quite finished off, but barely losing anything here. Only the Hatch really takes out a lot of its hit points. It's going to die pretty much to any sort of volley that it takes.
Yep.
Oh, could get the Warp Prism too. Nice pickoff moves here by Soulkey.
Yep, going to make it much harder here to warp in. Now Soulkey's going to go for the backdoor here, try to take out that 3rd base. But herO, I think he just wants to go for this big push. He's got a huge ball here. Really strong units. There's enough Stalkers here.
Yeah, the ball gets a lot weaker losing that Colossus, but I mean, the Stalker count is high enough, like you said. The 2 Immortals in the mix are going to make quick work of structures like these Spine Crawlers, and he's got all these sentries to drop Force Field against the Hydras, and if the Lings come back, he's got those Force Fields for that too. Going to actually catch some of these reinforcing Lings. Good targeting on this Colossus, right on top of those Hydras, but does he have enough Stalkers? There's no Warp Prism, which means he can't warp in any reinforcements. Here comes some drones. I think he's got barely enough with Force Fields here. I think he's got enough.
It looks like it, man. The Force Field on the ramp is not great, but he puts the 2nd one here. Will it be enough to survive?
The Hydras are a problem here.
I think that's right. It's just going to take out the rest of the Protoss here. The Lings push through past the Force Fields. Drones will be able to go back to mining, and there's no more Protoss left in front of that Zerg base. He has no 3rd base behind this push. Soulkey has 4 bases still.
Key spell in that fight, Corruption. He used Corruption on every single Corruptor corrupted something, be it a Sentry or a Stalker. You spammed it on every single unit. All of those units took so much extra damage from the Hydras. There were only like 6 or 7 Hydras back there, but Hydras do a lot of damage to Gateway units. Plus, when the Gateway units are stuck behind their own Force Fields, unable to move, the Hydras have that range, plus the bonus damage from Corruption. That was a nice fight for Soulkey there. He took a tough situation and really turned it around.
Yeah. The biggest thing that he lost there was his drones. You saw that number. It was 33 after that fight because he had to fight with drones to hold that one off. So he does have the 4 bases. He will be able to get a lot more drones here. Look at that tiny, puny Protoss army even. And no more 3rd base for him.
It's essentially checkmate because he doesn't have a 3rd base to make the units he needs. The Hydralisk count, albeit small, is enough to bolster these Lings to fight any Gateway army, and he can't make Colossi because they're just going to get instantly targeted down by their Corruptors. He doesn't have enough support for it yet. And there's so many more Hydras on the way. They're about to have Hydra speed, and once he has that, he can actually move across the map and probably end the game.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I mean, from this point here without a 3rd base, herO cannot make Colossi with this many Corruptors in the air. So we just see continuous Hydra production here. A lot of Lings as well. Doesn't want to lose these Hydras out here. Bit of a control mistake, but he does bait out a blink here. Nice Warp Fields do push away a lot of that Zerg army, but still, some of the Lings and some of the Hydras pushing through here.
Notice the Corruption.
Like it's enough, though.
He's using that Corruption again on all these Stalkers, making them just fall so much faster whenever anything connects to them. Here come the reinforcing Hydras, and I think this is going to force herO to type out. Let's do a big warp in here. but it's underneath Hydra Fire, so...
He's running out of energy here on his sentries there. And now they're just basically sitting there tickling the Hydras. It's not enough. The Lings are pushing through here. He's trying to warp in, but...
Oh, I think it's just a formality at this point. GG. Soulkey takes game number 1. Looking solid on his map pick.
Yeah, man. That's not the game 1 I expected, actually. herO going very aggressive there off of basically 2 bases. I mean, he did have that 3rd Nexus, but he did not saturate it at all. He had a big Protoss army, but Soulkey was able to hold it off from there. He had enough bases to just produce a lot of units.
Now, October 1st has passed, by the way, for those wondering why Soulkey's not wearing the jersey. It was announced, I wasn't sure when it was announced exactly, but it was announced when the transfer of innovation happened to SK2 was when this was announced that he left the team. So he's now just wearing a WECG shirt, as he is currently teamless. Hard to believe. Pretty crazy. But you know, he's joined the ranks of Fantasy and Rain over there, former SK2 players, amongst others, Bravo as well. So, you know, this guy is WCG's winner for 2013. Wants to win it again, no doubt, here at WECG. Yeah. He's already taken a win over one of our best players in Korea in herO.
If he can get out of this group, it's going to be great for his career just in general. So many teams are looking at this guy. They're like, okay, should we pick up Soulkey? How's he looking? If he's looking really good, he's going to find a team. You know?
Absolutely. I'm sure he's already got plenty of offers. He's just trying to increase his salary.
Pretty much.
All right, guys, let's go into game number 2. Soulkey versus herO here in Group D.
Down here in the bottom right, in the red, took a big one last game. It's Soulkey.
And to the top left on his map pick, it's herO for CJ Entis. One of the most winning Protosses, most winning players in Pro League. His team did not make it to the finals, although they were very close. Rain versus herO, the final match comes to mind. Go and watch that VOD. Even if you know the results, even though you know that CJ doesn't go to the finals of Pro League, you won't even remember that halfway through the game you're watching right there.
That's like, even though we watched it already, and even though we know the results, that's like a game you have to rewatch because it's so good. It's one of those.
Yeah. I've actually rewatched that 4 times, I think. I watched it 2 days ago again.
Wow.
Yeah, I have that VOD bookmarked.
For a reason.
Yeah, man.
Sick game.
It's like it's like in my bookmarks bar, like. Well, this drone scout is gonna put a damper on this Forge build. But Soulkey's already done this in game 1. He's doing it in game 2. Keeping it real, making sure he's real safe.
Yeah. No reason not to. It's just it's so safe at this point. You just saw so many Protosses go for this Forge opening. You just need to get that scout down and
perhaps more than safety, there comes cats.
Yeah.
Bit of cats going on here. herO must realize at this point, okay, your drone's not my main. You don't have a hatchery. I don't have vision. Yeah.
Could it be? It is.
Already accused 2 cannons. Will he be able to block this hatch? I think so. Yeah, he even starts a spawning pool.
Yeah.
3 drones, though, making it look like he really wants to get that hatch up first.
Can just mineral walk out of there, no problem. Drone's trying to block, it's not going to work. And Pylon coming down.
Can actually block it
for so long.
He certainly should block here. Okay,
he does.
Barely gets that off. 2 more drone boxing glove swipes, and he's gone, man. With the 2 cannons here, this certainly will have to be canceled. It's not going to be worth. I don't think it'll be worth it to finish that. He may want to.
May even die before it gets up.
Yeah, he may want to cancel that pretty soon. Actually, it will finish if he wants it to, but I just don't know if that's really worth it, right? You can't Evo block because that wouldn't be worth it. Wow. Jumps into that extractor.
Look at where Soulkey's taking his base right now. His base was so delayed at the 3rd and the natural that he's taking it right in the middle. If herO wants to go for some kind of follow-up attack here off 2 bases, maybe a +1 timing, it's a really close base, that one.
That cannon placement is really smart. He readjusted that just to stop for things like this. If herO knew this base were in the middle, he probably would have just straight up cannoned it already. But now
look now.
It's too late to cannon it now, but He knows it's there, and he could start taking appropriate action, getting himself set up to attack that. He wants to drop his core, first of all, right away here. A bit late on that, actually, to be honest, but I mean, that every second counts.
Yeah, very true. Soulkey now getting a scout on here. Bit early, just wants to make sure no shenanigans are going down. Very nice hide here on the probe by herO. We do see Soulkey trying to scout for that with some of the Zerglings out on the map, but does hide in that little nook there next to that third base.
You know the sniper in Saving Private Ryan? He sees a tower, he's like, that's where I'd be. I'm like, oh, they see that probe, I'm like, that's where I'd be.
Oh, it's so funny.
I actually thought he was going to hide that probe and make pylons, but he takes the safer approach to just scout because Soulkey's the one who's looking at this saying, that's where I'd be, and he probably would have found the probe. Probably wouldn't have gotten away with hiding pylons. So a follow-up attack would be strong off of gateways, but the Phoenix build, or perhaps Oracles would be good here. The Stargate play in general is less predictable and just a little bit more all-around flexible.
Yeah. It's also good, you know, it's going to take a long time to get the creep spread to that middle base there, I guess you can call it, as third base. And Soulkey actually gets the scout on here, so as long as he drops, you know, a Spore Crawler there and maybe puts an extra queen, I think he should be okay.
Yeah. He's already spreading his creep
forward
aggressively, yeah. This is going to be that Oracle opening. And, you know, with a late Ling speed, in this case non-existent, Stalkers can do a lot for you. So you could poke around here a little bit, maybe weaken that queen. There's a lot of potential for damage. Oh, he could do a 6-gate with this Oracle too, now that I think about it. That's very un-hero-like. But in a situation like this where you've created this situation with a Zerg in a weird economy, where he's very delayed, all of his timings are off, I think this is a pretty cool build.
Yeah, very strong follow-up to forcing the Zerg to do something like this. Already the Stalker causing problems here. He's going right for the Queen with the Oracle as well.
This is what I was talking about, but the Queen does have a buddy. She will go down, but he needs to control that Oracle. Oh. Very, very much taking a lot of damage there. Okay, 7 gateways.
herO does not want to play late game against Soulkey here. He just wants to end this one in the first game and the second game here. The second one, he did kind of force Soulkey into a bad situation, which kind of leads to this follow-up here, but two games in a row going for a big push.
There's that sniper probe, man. He made the pylon.
That's where he'd be, but Soulkey knows.
Soulkey knows.
He sees it.
But, you know, he needs actually warp-ins right there right now. Did he get them off? I don't actually think he did. I think he's going to lose that pylon. This Oracle is on the wrong spot.
Okay,
oh, barely got those Stalkers in. Okay, he needs a kite. Ouch. That's expensive, man. That's not worth it. Okay. Probe survives, too.
At this point.
Oh, I take it back. Okay, 2 Oracles are going to add a lot of firepower to this, and he's got another warp-in point. I didn't even see that pylon. This is looking disastrous for Soulkey. Barely has any units. He's just now making his first roaches. And look at how much damage these Oracles can do. These slowlings off creep.
Speed is close to finishing here, but it's not there just yet. He's already doing a ton of damage to the drones here. They're not even mining there at the natural. Ling's trying to come from behind and surround here, but barely even able to get one Stalker. Roach is now popping out, but already a lot of Protoss units here.
The kiting on those Oracles versus the Queens to kill the Lings was actually beautiful. This is just so much Protoss now. The Roach count is not all together, and it's also just it doesn't have, the Roaches don't have speed. They're coming out one by one where they can be easily sniped. There's so many Stalkers that could just target with their bonus damage to armor. He's got 9 Stalkers here, soon to be a 10th one popping out. That one Oracle does live to do some more damage to Speedlings later on if that becomes a problem. GG. Soulkey's not even going to mess around with the rest of that game. He's just going to get out of there and go into game 3.
Wipe his hands off, go into the next one. We go technically into a best-of-1 now.
Catalina is Soulkey's map that he chose.
Yeah.
As he chose band second, so he gets to choose that final map. Although I suppose he's not really choosing it because it's the only map left. The more I think about it. But it's a map that he basically gave herO 50-50 on. It's a map that herO did not choose in his map 2 selection.
Well, both these players able to win on their map choices. We're going to the final map here, Catalina.
I want to give an edge to Soulkey on this map. I feel like if we go to late game with how he played in the first game, I want to give him an edge. Would not have said that earlier,
Yeah, I actually agree with you. After seeing that first game, you know, he was even able to stop that push. Just in a normal game like that on a 2-player map, I think it's going to be much better here on Catalina.
Completely agree. All right, game number 3 here for Group D of the round of 16 for the Korea Nationals for WECG, happening right now.
Over here at 9 o'clock in the red, the Zerg player, it's Soulkey.
And down here at the 5 o'clock, it is herO. For CJ just spawning in the blue as Protoss. I like this music. This Protoss music just reminds me of the beta, the Wings of Liberty. And then hearing that music for the first time. Also reminds me of Lugaro's music, which is the game with the rabbits that fight that really scares you.
Oh god, that really scary game. That game is actually so scary.
It's a great game though. Story is awesome. If you like to knife fight and fight with swords, and the idea of like
standing up humanoid rabbits.
Yeah, and
wolves and stuff.
Yeah, if you like this idea of like sword fighting and running around really fast and super fast-paced action and a cool story and a very simple indie game, definitely play Lugaro. It's an awesome game. Really enjoy that game. Did not beat it on the hardest difficulty, but it got to the last level. And I tried like 1,000 times, and then I just eventually gave up. But I'll beat it one day. That's like the sad story that you should never say on TV. I'm like, yeah, and then I just gave up.
You just gave up.
It's like when I played.
Now everybody knows you're a quitter.
When I played Super Mario Superstar Saga, and I really enjoyed the story, but once I thought the boss was kind of lame, and then after I tried it like 4 times, I just looked up the ending because I was like, I don't like this boss.
Well, I can't really say anything. I have like some kind of disease where I just like can't finish games. Or I used to be like this when I was younger, I should say. Nowadays I do finish games, but I would get to the last boss, just save, and quit. And I'd be like, okay, I'll beat that like next time I play the game, and then I just wouldn't play the game again.
Well,
it didn't make any sense. But
first world problems, man, because a new game comes out, then you start playing that one.
Yeah, exactly.
In the case of Smash Brothers for me and not finishing Hyrule Warriors, ooh, he's gonna get an extractor here, and I don't think he'll cancel that because he didn't need to make it yet. If he was gonna just do that and then cancel and keep the drone alive, he could have just run the drone around. So this is a pretty aggressive move. We don't normally see full cancels.
Yeah.
So it messes with the Zerg's mining to lose that drone, but it also messes with the Protoss's gas mining, so he does keep it.
Yeah, herO taking that gas pretty quickly as well. Wants to be able to get that gas as much as possible now that he only has 1 for a bit here.
Yeah, that's really annoying. Does cost him a whole drone to do that, and 25 minerals. Not as important. Same cost of an assimilator. Although assimilators are overpowered. Notice they have 900 hit points.
Yeah.
The most hit points out of any gas structure.
Protoss OP.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, Brennan. Zerg.
What's the thing?
All races are balanced. The Zerg extractor can regenerate hit points to the full health over time without spending any resources. Ooh, oops, misplaced. I saw it on TV, so embarrassing. But the Zerg structure can regenerate to full health without any repair costs like the Terran can. It also doesn't burn. And it's the only Zerg structure that won't bleed off of creep, besides uprooted spores and spines. But the Terran obviously can burn and has to spend money to repair. The Protoss can only get half of its health back by regenerative means. You can't repair it unless you're playing 2v2s and you've got an SC2 to repair it in some weird circumstance. So it's all balanced, it's all fair. It makes sense they have more hit points.
Yeah.
IMO. I've solved it, guys. The long debate about whether assimilators are OP has been solved right now. Only half your shields regen. This should be denied. In fact, the probe was like doing some weird zigzag moves like it was football practice, so...
Yeah, not the most efficient way to get in there and try to get a scout on.
He wasn't going to see anything. I think he just wanted to see if he could see the saturation or something. There wasn't really much he could do there.
Yeah. Well, we do got a Stargate about to finish here for the Protoss. He has done it in all 3 games. Let's see what kind of style he goes for here. What will it be? It's a Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix is pretty standard hero type composition. I mean, we see him do this type of build all the time. It was obviously a little bit different on Sejong because he blocked the hatches and Soulkey also did a hatch block, so his economy was in a very difficult place to hold off a push like that with the Oracles. This pylon is getting pretty low. I don't think he's going to have to force field it or anything, but that could be important later because we have a fast Roach Warren coming up here. I mean, I don't think he's going to do a Roach push. I don't think this is definitely not the timing for a Roach all-in, but you keep every single hit point in mind, Brennan, going into this.
Yeah, definitely. Overlord, you know, he did distract at the front with the Zerglings, and the Overlord gets a full scout of the base. He would have seen the Phoenixes shooting him in the face regardless. He's going to lose this Overlord as well, and should pull back his Overlords to not lose any more.
This is a natural way of things. The weak Overlords get sent to scout, and they get killed. It's just like nature.
How are those weak Overlords, though? Usually those are like the first two that come out, you know?
Listen, don't try to overthink this.
Those are just like the old ones. They send them out to die, I guess.
I let people know this all the time, and I feel like I change people's way of looking at Zerg as a race every time I do this. But at least when I came to this conclusion, that changed the way I think about the race. Because all Zerglings are twins. You know how much weird baggage and extra stuff like they've got. They're all twins. They all look the same. That's got to be, you know, something they've got to deal with all the time. They're all twins.
I guess, but like, don't all Zealots look the same, or?
They all look the same, but they're not twins.
Oh. They're just brothers, I guess?
Not all DTs look the same.
That is true. You schooled me on that
one. The Phoenixes are doing a little bit of damage here. I mean, more than normal. I mean, I would say like it's been a pretty good amount of damage these Phoenixes have gotten done. Oh, I think he barely missed that Warp Prism.
Yeah, he did. That's going straight for the main base as well here. This third base, that probe's being...
Ring around the rosy over here.
Yeah, gets it. He's going to have to back off.
Those sentries would love to be in the Warp Prism. He does warp in 4 Zealots instead. Now, he could continue to warp in units here.
Phoenixes are coming in as well.
Yep, he's going to pick up the Queen.
He's going to go straight for that
you can just get the Spore Crawler, yep.
Yeah.
And if the Queen runs away, he gets away from the Spore Crawler, then he could just pick up the Queen. So the Spore goes down. There's a second Spore, though. Soulkey not really cutting too many corners here. The most he's losing right now is mining time.
Phoenix is just waiting, actually.
Yep.
He wants to pick off something here. He could pick off some of those
the Hydras
possibly.
Yeah, once that Spore's down, he definitely could. He's going to go for the ones here on the ramp. Gonna, be pretty annoying here for Soulkey. Needs to actually kite his Hydras or fight with his drones here to protect them against those Zealots. The Spore Crawler is still alive. There's so many Overlords here, it's actually very difficult to target that Graviton Beam. But he keeps warping in more and more Zealots here. Now he should fight these Hydras with the Zealots on the ground. He needs more Hydras here. Okay, he decides just to play it a little bit safer. He's making Void Rays at home. He's got a third base, and he's getting Colossus range. So he's setting up to fight Hydras later on. Doesn't want to overcommit here. Doesn't want to keep dumping too many resources in because eventually this is not going to pay off.
Yeah.
And he's super probe light. Look at Soulkey's drone count. The 71 until he just lost those.
Yeah, even though herO was doing that harass the entire time, Soulkey just kept on making drones, and he's way, way ahead of herO. We do have 3 probes at a time now coming out here with the Chrono Boost, so he will be able to saturate that third base if he wants to. Looks like he does want to.
And on top of that, he made drones instead of Hydras. A lot of Hydras were killed. So herO's in a position where he's got this very strong army, which has been slowed ever so slightly by that Overseer that got killed by the Void Ray that you guys can see. But he's got a really strong army. He's got even possibilities to move out and do timing attacks at the 4th base and just poke a little bit, force more units to be made. He's in a really good spot when it comes to army. He's up 20 army supply with a better composition. The Spire isn't even done yet. 4 gates are finishing here, so Soulkey is in a very scary place right now.
Definitely very true. We got the Phoenixes just continuing to swoop back and forth behind the bases of the Zerg. I think he wants to scout for that 4th base and maybe some tech in there. If he did go to the 3rd base, he would have seen the Spire, actually, and a second Roach Warren. Or did he cancel the first one? Or
I think it is a second one. I'm not 100% sure, though. We didn't really get a big look at that.
Maybe just making the first one for safety, forgot about it, and he's making a second one here now.
Well, he's certainly not using either of them right now. He's making pure Hydras. And there are 2 Colossi with range and a Warp Prism with a ton of Gateway Warp-ins. This is that timing, that poke I was talking about. And Soulkey, instead of really Well, hold that thought. Let's see if he can get up the ramp here. Oh, God, he even saves a Warp Prism.
Oh, no.
I don't know about that Mothership Core. Time Warp will save it, actually. Great force fields here.
Huge force fields. He cuts off half of that Hydra army there. Look at the huge warping as well of Stalkers here. There's just not enough Zerg here. There's a lot of Corruptors in the air, but that's not going to deal with all the Stalkers and the Zealots and the Sentries on the ground.
This is a good read by herO, knowing that Soulkey he lost too much early on. He didn't have a big enough army. Soulkey did not expect a push of this magnitude to come across the map. He made that 5th base because he thought the 4th was going to be targeted down instead, but now he's just going to straight up die. GG. He thought that herO was just going to poke a little bit. This is more just of a poke build, not as much of a commitment. So he made that 5th base, which is really smart. That's where that drone went over there, because he was okay, you kill my 4th, you're going to probably recall or walk away. I'm going to have enough Corruptors out to hold this, but then I'm going to have this other base up, so it's almost like he didn't accomplish anything. But, you know, he just didn't have enough units out. His Hydros count was lackluster. He had either his 1st or 2nd Roach Swarm, but not the upgrades, didn't have any Roaches, and there were 2 Colossi with range and just way too many force fields to deal with.
Yeah.
And he got up the ramp and had that Time Warp.
It was just a really nice follow-up push. I mean, the early harassment there with the Phoenixes and the Zealots, doing a lot of damage, taking out a lot of those Hydras, just really cut down on the RB supply of the Zerg, like you did mention there. So herO will go on to the winner's match. Your Soulkey dropping down in the loser's match. We did predict, actually, herO to win this one, but after those first 2 games, we did lose a little bit of faith in Soulkey, or rather in herO.
In herO, yes. Well, yeah. I didn't lose faith in herO. I just felt like Soulkey looked really good. Better than I expected him to play, considering he's going through a big transition period in his life right now. Just left SK2, all that sort of shuffling that goes on and all the stress that comes with that. But let's not forget, this guy is, you know, our defending champion of WCG, and a lot of people are expecting big things out of him. A lot of people really want him to get out of this group as our Zerg representative.